Good morning, class. Welcome to EP2150, and this is the last lecture. Okay, today's topic is going to be risk assessment. So, risk assessment for a small business. This is a quick slide deck, so we should be done within half an hour. Okay, so risk, the definition of risk. Risk for a small business is anything that threatens an organization's ability to generate profits at its target levels. So whatever its goal is for profit, risk is something that would prevent it from reaching its profit that it has set as a goal. In the long term, risk can threaten the organization's sustainability, its ability to continue operating. Owning a business involves accepting risk. Risk management is the identification, analysis, assessment, control, avoidance, minimization, or elimination of unacceptable risks. Okay, some risks you have to accept. Some you shouldn't have to accept, and risk management is avoiding those. Entrepreneurs must be able to identify and assess possible risks facing their business, and to take actions to avoid or reduce the negative outcomes from facing those risks. Okay. Types of risk facing small business. Okay, there's a lot. So financial risk, liquidity risk. Remember our definition of liquidity. So liquidity basically, if you make it simple, the simple definition is the cash you have. Okay, that risk. Operational risk, management risk, industry risk. So the whole industry as a whole. Not many people buying typewriters these days because of technology. Okay, credit risk. Reputational risk, environmental risk, compliance risk, that's like legal compliance, health and safety risk, liability risk. So we'll go back to, let's see, industry risk. And if you were in an industry that was probably going to die in 10 years from now, how do you avoid that risk? Now, if you look at your ATM machines, you might find a little logo on most ATM machines that say NCR. And if you look up this company, NCR stands for National Cash Register. Okay, so the cash register is the thing in a business where, you know, they type in how much money you owe, and the till pops out, you give them the cash, the money goes in. This company, okay, understood that they couldn't just stay in cash registers. They had to adapt with the times. So this was a very innovative company. Okay, continuing, the types of risk. So the definition of each risk. Financial risk, the risk that a company's financial position will be negatively affected. There are several aspects of financial risk, including cost control, ability to generate sales, ability to access capital, that's money, ability to repay debt, your loans, changes in interest rates, and cash flow management. Liquidity risk. The risk that a company will not have enough cash flow to meet its financial obligations as they become due. So bills come in that you had to pay, but you don't have the cash to pay them. Poor liquidity can cause a business to lose employees, suppliers, and can risk relationships with lenders and investors. Ultimately, a company's survival is at risk if they cannot pay liabilities when they are due. Operational risk. Risks associated with the company's operational and business process. Example, a breakdown of equipment in a manufacturing plant. So how could you avoid the operational risk of breakdown of equipment? Well, you would have routine maintenance. A part of your schedule would be set aside to inspect equipment and find things that are broken before the repairs get worse and the whole system has to shut down if you're in manufacturing. Management risk. The risk that a company's management team does not have the required skills and ability to successfully lead the company in all areas and generate profits for shareholders. So your management is not good enough. Industry risk. Relates to risk of negative factors that affect an entire industry. If a business is operating in an industry that faces threats, it will be challenging for the business to survive. Example, changing technologies, changing customer preferences, threat of competition, increased costs, increased government regulation. Credit risk. The risk of loss associated with giving credit to customers and the possibility that the customers may not pay. This could result in bad debt expenses to the company, which has a negative impact on profitability. Okay, so this is in an earlier chapter we talked about giving your customers credit as a marketing strategy to get them to buy from you. But in that, there's always a risk. Some of those people don't pay you back. Reputational risk. The risk that a company may suffer from a poor reputation or image among their customers or in the eye of in the public eye. This is like public relations. This may result from issues such as product quality problems or poor customer experiences that become public. A negative reputation may cause a business to lose customers and sales. Environmental risk. The risk that a company's product or operations may cause harm to the natural environment. Okay, types of risk. Compliance risk. The risk that a company is not following all required government regulations. There are many regulations that businesses must follow, and an entrepreneur must monitor the regulatory environment to make sure that all regulations are being followed. A business could risk fines or closure if not in compliance, so they have to follow the laws and understand if laws change. Health and safety risk. The risk that a business's operations could cause physical harm to employees, customers, or members of the public. For example, safe working conditions. Liability risk. Risk that a business could be held responsible for losses or damage associated with their product or business operation. So the liability risk tends to come from the health and safety risk. Because once something bad happens, usually somebody's going to sue or want money, or the government's going to fine you. Okay. Risk management plan, or the strategy. Identify all of your risks. Determine how vulnerable you are to each risk. Plan and prepare contingency plans in advance. Purchase insurance coverages to mitigate losses. Constantly monitor your business environment. Adapt your risk management plan as required. Some risks are common to all businesses. Take the time to carefully think about specific risks that you as the owner of the business may only be able to identify. Look for checklists of risks associated with your industry. Okay, determine risk exposure. To what extent is the business exposed to various risks? Okay, what's the probability that the risk is going to come to them because of the nature of their business? Okay, so if you're in construction, the health and safety exposure is high. But if you're an accountant, the health and safety exposure is low. What will be the cost of the business if the risk factor occurs? Okay. Determine which risk factors are worth worrying about and which ones are not. Should an entrepreneur purchase insurance to protect against the risk? Is insurance available? At what cost? Plan and prepare. Contingency planning. So a contingency is like a backup plan. Commercial insurance are available to cover many risks. Other ways you can plan to avoid risks. Implement policies and procedures that value safety. Installing security measures to safeguard theft or safety. Empowering employees with customer care codes of conduct. Investing in training on roles and responsibilities. So you could have your employees, you train your employees to understand what the risks are, how to deal with the risks if they happen, how to avoid the risks. Okay? There's a code of conduct. How do we act in our company? And that connects back to company culture from the previous unit. Empower employees with customer care codes of conduct, so they all know the rules. They all are even a part of creating these rules. Security measures. So you have cameras. Cameras let people know they're being watched. Things are being recorded, so people don't do stupid things or illegal things, or less likely to. Okay, and the policies and procedures that value safety. So how do we operate around dangerous equipment? Do we have protective gear? Does everybody wear gloves, a hard hat, work boots? No loose clothing that can get caught up in the machinery. Right? These are examples of being prepared. Examine insurance coverage for risk. Key component of risk management. Common types of insurance used by small business. So these are the insurance products. General liability insurance covers expenses related to legal liability for injured to a third party. Product liability insurance covers expenses related to legal liability for injury or damage caused by a defective product. Professional liability protects against malpractice, errors, and negligence. Commercial property insurance covers the loss of and damage to business property. Constantly monitor your business environment. Review and update your risk management strategy every 6 months. Understand the state of your business in your industry to make informed management decisions regarding risk. Involve key managers and shareholders in your risk management meetings. Okay. Adapt your risk management strategy as conditions change. The only true constant in business is change. Things will always change. Be prepared to innovate as required to be responsive to changes in the macro environment. The macro is your pestle environment. Okay. And that is the end. I told you it was a quick unit. So this is it. Check back on D2L. Notes about the midterm are there, the structure of the midterm, so make sure you read those. Study these last four units, okay, and be prepared. Thank you and have a great day.